As always, if you need your track mixed or mastered, you need a signature vocal chain, or you need a recording template, head over to rlrecordings.com right now. Okay, in this video, I have something a little bit different that I thought about making a video on after talking to another engineering buddy of mine. And that is probably vocal mixing, which in my opinion is one of the hardest things any engineer, what just dropped, can master, and is one of the hardest things to learn when you're starting out as an engineer. Or even if you're just mixing yourself to get a demo just to listen to in the car or something before release, and you send it to an engineer for it, of course, to be mixed. And something that everybody struggles with is vocal mud. And in this video, I'm actually going to show you how to do it. And for some reason, this isn't actually being sent to the lead track. That's a bit weird. Anyway, I'm just going to show you how it's done. Right. I'm actually going to turn these off for the sake of argument so you can hear properly what it is. First things you want to do in a vocal when you get it is you want to be able to hear the difference in the parts. In this vocal, as we can see here, there's a lower bit. There's a lower bit. He's in a lower vocal range. And you know, he's getting here, and he gets a bit higher in his vocal register, which completely changes the way EQ will work. And for a demo, you can keep them the same, but if you're learning to mix in this video, I'm going to show you how to do it. First things first, let's play it.
Dancing a pussy like Billie Jean. Beat it so good she don't wanna leave. Hey, got the sauce, got the recipe. Hey, got the cure, got the remedy. We got a bond, we got chemistry. Talk a true, that's therapy. You gon' tell me all your fantasies. We gon' make it to reality. Yeah, man, that boy can't keep up. She a game back, she a diva. Please do not send me no teasers. Pull up right now, I need some. Pull up right now, I need that.
Anyway, you get the gist. You can hear it. You understand. Let's take everything off here, so you can now hear it without any plugins on, so you can understand what we're working with.
Dancing a pussy like Billie Jean. Beat it so good. Tell me all your fantasies. We could make it to reality. Yeah, man, that boy can't keep up. She a game back, she a diva.
Alright, immediately, the higher bit is immediately muddier. Don't get fooled by the sound and volume difference. Don't get fooled by that. Learn to listen. And you can just hear the amount of is introduced into the vocal immediately by them switching. First things first, I'm going to show you how I mixed the top bit here. If I turn all of this off.
Wanna leave. Hey, got the sauce, got the recipe. Hey, got the cure, got the remedy. We got a bond, we got chemistry. Talk a true, that's therapy. You could tell me all your fantasies. We could make it to reality.
You can hear that drastic difference. And of course, the first thing in the chain I did was tuning, as any melodic rap song has these days. So we're not gonna go into that. First things first, de-esser. And this de-esser wasn't placed here first because the vocals are essy. No, they were actually they were fine until later on in the chain when high end is introduced, and then they got a bit essy and a bit harsh. So we're putting this in front of everything to take care of all the problems, and so that when we do boost in the end, they're not as harsh and sharp. So EQ is what we've all been waiting for, and it's been 4 minutes of me yapping. This is the EQ for this song, and what I did for it. First things first, low cut or high pass at 101 hertz. That is not one size fits all. It's just very specific for this song, and that's just getting rid of the unnecessary bits so the beat can fit as well, and they're not clashing. After I did that, I didn't go down like this. I immediately went to this black bit. And at 200 hertz, taking out, 5.5 hertz. Immediately, let's just
Dancing that pussy like Billie Jean. Beat it so good she don't wanna leave. Hey, got the sauce, got the recipe. Hey, got the cure, got the remedy.
Immediately cleans it up in that department there. Just cleans it up. SSL has some magic down in that low end. I'm telling you, it just washes it away to make it smoother, and it's amazing. Bit here, blue bit, didn't need it. Nothing needs to be done there at all for this vocal. Because sometimes mud is just in one area. It's in like 100 to 300 area, somewhere around there. And all you got to do is find the frequency. You can scan it, EQ sweep, find it, drag it down, really, really low, really extremely, really thin the vocals out, and then find the sweet spot and then slowly bring it back in, bring it up, bring it down. I'm imagining EQ in Pro Q3 doing this. Bringing it up, bringing it down, bringing it up, bringing it down, and then you find the sweet spot, which is exactly what happened here for 5.5. Now that the low ends get some of the mud is gone, immediately, automatically, without me doing anything, the vocals got a little brighter. As you're just taking away the low end, that's just what happens when you take away something, something will fill its place. This is the high end for this vocal. But I still got to make it cut through in the beat. I've already turned it up, as you can see here. I've turned it up 7 out the way. 7.5 dBs I've turned it up. Guaranteed I had already turned it down about 8. So I'm turning it basically all the way back up. But you know, I turn it down as a precautionary method for gain staging, and that's a completely separate video. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a video on gain staging, which is another very important process in mixing. Anyway, now we gotta make the beat cut through, because if I
Dancing that pussy like Billie Jean. Beat it so good she don't wanna leave. Hey, got the sauce, got the recipe. Hey, got the
I put the beat back in and it gets lost when I turn SSL off. I need that high end. So what you gotta do is just use your ears. Sweep here, turn this knob. I'm using SSL for example. Turn this all the way to 15, and then just cycle through the frequencies. What sounds good to you, but doesn't immediately make things bright, harsh, sharp in your ears. Because if you accidentally boost a sharp frequency, you're going to give yourself ear fatigue, and you're going to give the listener ear fatigue, and they're not going to want to listen to your song, because every time they listen to it, they feel like they've lost their hearing. And nobody wants that. So I found the frequency at 3.35, as it just needed that little boost up. And I will admit, if you're a starting out engineer, unable to hear where things need to particularly be boosted, I understand, I've been there, isn't the easiest thing to immediately grab a hold of. And maybe you're following along with this tutorial at home or something, making it yourself, this chain by yourself. You can copy the settings. There's nothing wrong with copying the settings. But you need to be aware. If your vocals don't already sound like this vocal here, it's not going to work, because everybody's vocal is unique and different, which is why I personally don't have a one-size-fits-all vocal chain. I have my favorite plugins for dealing with things, like this is a muddy vocal, so the SHL channel is my way of dealing with it. But if it wasn't muddy, I wouldn't possibly have used the SHL channel. I might have immediately gone for Pro Q3 or something to fix other issues, or simply just to boost the high end, because there's a lovely preset in that I won't be afraid to admit. It's called Vocal, which is really good at starting things out pretty much immediately. But it's all right if you can't hear what your vocal is missing. You will eventually learn when you figured out what to do right for your vocal, if that makes sense. When you find the frequency to boost, you will hear it and you'll be like, that's what I'm hearing is missing. And then there you go. Which is what I did here, exactly for 12K, which is only up by 1 dB, because this really brightened the vocal here and really brought it forward. So I don't need to go all the way out and sharp here. And when I did this, guarantee 3.3K is kind of a sharpy area. So when it was being boosted, I got my air but then I got a slight bit of harshness. And I know I just said you got to be a bit wary of that, but a way to fix it is just DS beforehand. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. And then boom, no longer harsh. And that fixes it right away. And don't be afraid to come back to plugins after later on in your chain to fix a couple of issues that may have come up later. But always be making sure what you're doing and keeping a mental note, maybe on a notepad on your phone, writing down what you've done to make sure that you're not completely screwing yourselves over by constantly going back and forth and changing, and then you'll be better off just starting. No. And then the next thing, C6. This is a lovely multi-band compressor that I feel has lost a little bit of love nowadays because C4 only has 4 bands, as this name suggests. It has 6. So it's a little bit more full and a little more confusing. But this is what it sounds like without it.
Dancing that pussy like Billie Jean. Beat it so good she don't wanna leave.
And this is with it.
Dancing that pussy like Billie Jean. Beat it so good she don't wanna leave.
Boom. We've got some high end. We've got more presence. Because it's little moves. Could I have boosted more on the SSL? Maybe. I could have pushed it just a tad more. But I didn't want to bring out any more harshness that I didn't need and cause me problems. So what I did is then I brought the C6 out. And this is a multi-band compressor. So you can boost a frequency and it will also compress it at the same time. So nothing gets too harsh and nothing gets in the way. And this is good because you can see only 2.1, 1.9, just about 2 dBs in total of actual pushing up. And these are the high ends. You can see this is what, 1.5 here, 6.3. Does that say 6.3? I think it does. I am very blind. And that says around 2K. But this blue knob is there. So it's actually about next to each other, aren't they, right there? And I'm only using these 2 bands. And these bands are also doing something as well, because they're just taming that muddiness as well. Just making sure anything that I've personally missed is just grabbing them. Something that I couldn't, not even me could hear, is just grabbing them. It's tricking your brain into thinking those frequencies are still there, even when it's not. And that is all. But if I play the beat with this.
Dancing that pussy like Billie Jean. Beat it so good she don't wanna leave. Hey, got the sauce, got the recipe. Hey, got the cure, got the remedy.
You heard when I brought that C6, it just makes it more present. But something is still missing. It's what I said about before, about not being able to find your perfect frequency that you need a boost. Something is missing. It's slightly too in the beat. And this is when a pull tech comes in. A pull tech, without actually even doing anything, will immediately put EQ onto your vocal, giving it that color, per se. And as soon as I turn this on,
dancing that pussy like Billie Jean. Beat it so good she don't wanna leave. Hey, got the sauce, got the recipe. Hey.
Boom, the vocal pokes back out, and it's more present, and it fixes all the issues because we're fixing on the high end. And of course, just like when you take away from the low end, if you boost the high end, muddiness comes out. But you don't want to immediately go for immediate high end, because then you're going to make your vocal sharp and harsh. And nobody wants their vocal sharp and harsh. So it's just small steps with multiple plugins to get there. See, this is 10K at about 4 and a bit. And the SSL is at 12. So they're very similar frequencies that are both known for presence. It's just poking it out a little bit. And when it comes to this vocal here, let me turn everything off.
Hey, mother boy can't keep up. She a getting bad, she a diva. Please do not send me no teaser.
As soon as he goes higher in his voice, more muddiness comes out. Which is completely fine because I believe what this man has done is that he stepped away from the microphone to record the lower bits, because he knows if he goes closer, the proximity effect will kick in and more lows will come in. So he stepped further away. But since he's now gone higher in his vocal, he doesn't want the microphone not to pick up his voice. So he's gone closer. And that's caused more low end to get in the way, to get into the vocal. I don't know what microphone King here recorded his vocals on. But first things first is tuning, but that's irrelevant for today's video. EQ. Because there's so much more mud in this vocal, I'm going to do a dramatic shift. Because the SSL isn't going to work because there is too much low end and there's only so many bands on an SSL I can use for low end, which if you didn't know is only these two. Because this goes down to 200, this may go up, this goes only down, the green goes to 800, which the mud really isn't in. 200 down here and this goes to 450, that's where the mud is. But on a Pro Q3, I have basically not infinite, I have much more than just two. And I can also do dynamic, but I didn't use dynamic here. So as you can see here, it is taking out quite a bit of low end. So let's listen.
Boy can't keep up. She a game bad, she a diva. Please do not send me no teasers. Pull up right now, I need some. Boy can't keep up. She a game bad, she a diva.
Do you hear that? Gone immediately. The problem is now fixed, and we've also replaced it with some nice high end to balance everything out. Let me play it with a beat.
Boy can't keep up. She a game bad, she a diva. Please do not send me no teasers. Pull up right now, I need some.
Look at that. Problem is fixed. I didn't need to do anything else, and I also don't need to do any more boosting because it's already coming out. Why have I dipped here though? Is because 17K can sometimes sound a bit brittle, a little bit sharp. So it's just taking it out in case. Next thing is Pool Tech with the exact same thing. Because we've removed a little bit of the harshness at 17, we can now boost 12 at 10. Sorry.
Boy can't keep up. She a game bad, she a diva. Please do not send me no teasers.
Like what we did with the last time, just to boost it and make it come back out. Beautiful. And you keen-eyed viewers out there would notice that I didn't actually compress this vocal at all. And I still haven't. And I have a compressor here next. As you can see there, I got the LA2A. That's an opto compressor, which means it's smooth. Soothing, creamy, if you will. But why did I compress this? Not compress this, but compress this. The answer is actually I didn't compress anything in this vocal. Not one vocal here is compressed. Let's turn it on. Okay, go over there, please.
Boy can't keep up. She a game bad, she a diva. Please do not send me no teasers. Pull up right now, I need some. Boy can't keep up. She a game bad, she a diva. Please do not send me no teasers. Pull up right now, I need some.
The only thing I'm using this compressor for is to add that little bit of color that the previous vocal had. As these vocals are very, in my opinion, actually quite well recorded. Apart from the mud, but that's all right. Microphones are always different, and everybody's recording rooms, especially at home, aren't the best. And that's all right. You know, we're all home recorders, you know? We've got to work with what we have. And this plugin gives me that little bit of life that the C6, I had here. And just brings it, so.
That's therapy. You gon' tell me all your fantasies. We gon' make it to reality. Boy can't keep up. She a game bad, she a diva.
Is there a slight vocal difference? A little bit, yeah. Maybe I could have turned it up just a tad more. Which, maybe I should have. I'll take it on the chin. Maybe I made a mistake by not turning it up. Maybe I should have turned the other bit down. But, in my opinion, this bit here is actually the verse. It's not the actual vocal. But here, in terms of the mixer brain I have, I just want it to be tight, controlled, and focused. I wanted this one to be a little bit lackadaisical, because the song is very smooth and very chill. It doesn't need to be an in-your-face vocal present as hell in the mix. It just needs to cut through. And that's all it's got to do. And that's why this mix and these types of mixes may be challenging, or maybe not challenging. There is backgrounds, but that's not the point of this video for the backgrounds, because these backgrounds are radioed out, so all the low end has been taken out anyway, and they've been verbed, so they're distant and they're in the background. Early Reflections is beautiful once you start to understand it. So that's just what I wanted to make a video on. You've got to be patient when it comes to mixing vocals, and just because your vocal is muddy doesn't mean you can't make it better. Because maybe you don't like a muddy vocal, but somebody wants a little muddier vocal. It's all right. We're all independent artists at the end of the day, and we want the best out of our music. Because sometimes all you need is 4 plugins, maybe 5 plugins to make your vocal sound better, instead of using all 12, which ironically I did for the backgrounds. But look at that. That's a very weird thing about everything being sucked out the low end and then boosting the highs. Hell, I even made a preset out of it because it actually worked on another mix I had to do as well. Fab Filter Pro Q preset kit coming soon. Shameless plug. But yes, I just wanted to make a quick video about how to deal with muddy vocals. It's a pain in the ass for any beginner and even a professional, not like me, a semi-pro here, dealing with muddy vocals. There's always a way to fix it. And if you don't know, just watch this video again, and hopefully if I've explained it, you can copy the settings, you can pause it, it's all right. I won't sue you. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching this really long 22-minute video on muddy mixing. I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions, just comment in the description, I'll get back to you whenever I can. So thank you very much everybody. And I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.